Hey guys, this is Austin. After years of using 4G, 5G networks are just starting to roll out, and with that, we should be able to see proper gigabit class speeds. But if you own a flagship from the last couple years, you might have noticed something strange, a 5G E logo. So, have you been using a 5G phone this entire time without realizing it? Yeah, no. Like 4G before it, 5G is not as straightforward as it might seem. There are several competing 5G standards being built out right now. For example, here in LA, you can sign up for Verizon's 5G home service. This is using an early version of 5G, which according to Verizon is good for up to 20 times the speed of LTE, and in the real world delivers about 300 megabits per second down, although theoretically it can go up to 940 megabits completely wirelessly. That's actually pretty good, and it shows how 5G can be used not only, of course, for your phone and for your laptop and tablet, but also it can be used to completely replace a standard home internet line. So putting aside for a second that this isn't true 5G just yet, there is a ton of potential here. The final 5G spec calls for a theoretical maximum of 20 gigabits per second, although realistically it's going to be much closer to 1 gigabit, but that is still a huge bump over what we have today. That brings us to 5GE. Now this is short for 5G evolution, and it is what AT&T is calling 5G. Although spoiler alert, it's not 5G. So to give you a better idea of what 5GE is, we have a little bit of an example. So this is Pikachu, and for this reference, we'll call him 5G. As you can see, he's very cheery, he's very happy, all good, right? Well, this is Mimikyu. Now, on the surface, it looks very similar to Pikachu, except that he's really LTE with some weird, drawings on his face. Clearly not the same thing. Are you following? Maybe I should explain this a little bit better. So if you take a look at the AT&T site, they describe 5GE as, quote, the first step on the road to 5G. So it does support some additional technologies that come with LTE Advanced, such as 4x4, as well as some better streaming and better compression. But generally speaking, this is not 5G, even though they're slapping that 5G badge all over it. And if this all sounds familiar, then you would be right. Back when AT&T was transitioning from 3G to 4G, they sent out an update to their phones to change the badge to say 4G, when it was actually still on 3G. Yeah, they're doing that one again. So based on all of this, it seems pretty clear to me that 5GE is not going to deliver a true next-gen experience, but to be fair, I think it's time to put it to the test. So let's see if we can actually track down a 5GE phone and see how it actually performs. I was wondering, do you guys have any of the 5G phones done yet? I know I saw a couple of ads about it.
The ones that are compatible right now would be the iPhone XS and XS Max.
I was reading something that the LG phones had it as well.
Possibly, pretty sure the V40.
That's what I had read as well. The V40 had it.
The V40 might have it. So.
Gotcha. Because basically, I want to get a phone for my dad, and he upgrades his phones very rarely. So I want to make sure that he has something 5G, so that he won't have to upgrade again in a couple years once it's really common.
Yeah, I think you know what? I'm gonna ask our LG rep.
That'd be awesome. Thank you. That was fun. So, did not get a phone. But we got some interesting information. They did confirm that it does support 5G. So I think the main phone I'm looking for is the V40. Everything that I've read up until now seems to show that that actually is one of the phones that does show the 5G badge. Unfortunately, this store didn't get many V40s and they shipped them all back because they didn't sell them. Oh, thank you, appreciate it. Hey, I had a question. So I'm looking for a phone for my dad, and I know you guys are rolling out 5G soon, right?
Which phones are 5G capable is going to be the first question. Let me look up which phones that we have are 5G capable.
Okay, that'd be great.
So I was reading up on it.
Yeah.
So it is 5GE, so it's not true 5G. So there's no phone out that's true 5G yet.
Okay.
So the V40 does support the 5GE. Also the S8, the S9s do support 5GE, but it's not what you consider true 5G.
What's the difference?
It's faster than 4G. It's in between what 5G is going to be. So there's no actual device that's actual 5G capable.
Okay, gotcha.
But it's 5GE capable, which is what they're releasing now, which are all the Samsung S9s.
Okay.
The LG V40.
Okay.
And that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have any of the V40s?
Yeah, we do have the V40s.
So we have an LG V40 that supports full 5GE. At least I hope it does. So now I have to put a SIM card in here and hope that 5GE shows up and I can actually test to see if it's any good, or whether I just spent $950 on a phone that won't work. So it is time to put AT&T's 5G network to the test. So the first bottleneck is that we actually might not have 5GE service here at the office. I'm hopeful that we will, but they don't really exactly have a whole lot of information about it. So I'm gonna put a SIM card in with actual data. All right, so it shows we're on AT&T on LTE, which is the correct thing because we should be on LTE. But I wanna see if this actually will show us 5GE. This V40 does have an update released on January 4th. Oh, excellent, here we go. What's new? 5G evolution indicator support added. Okay, so there is an update for the phone that specifically changes the indicator to 5G evolution. Now the question is, why doesn't it want to download? So we got the phone up to date, but unfortunately it still shows 4G LTE. Now this should theoretically show 5G. The main issue is that there's not 5G service here at the office. So the next step is to track down 5G so we actually can test to see, even though it's probably going to be the same. This isn't going to be a definitive test, but all I want to know is this: does 5GE make any difference whatsoever? So after taking a closer look at the 5GE coverage areas, one of the major spots that they do have listed is Los Angeles. So we're here in Hollywood to see exactly whether or not this is going to work. Oh, 5GE, we got it. I actually legitimately did not think that was gonna work. So what's really interesting is, if you look at the actual network page, what you'll see is even though it says 5GE, it still says LTE here because that's what it really is. I guess the first test is just to see how fast it is. So 4.6 down and 16 up. Hardly a gigabit like they had promised. Now on the other side, I have the iPhone XR. Now this is a phone which actually is listed on AT&T's site as 5GE compatible, but if you take a look, I have 4 bars of LTE, not 5G. It's the same thing. Well, let's see if there's actually any difference. Oh, wow. Are you serious? Are you trying to tell me that 5G is slower? What? To be clear, these phones are both on AT&T. There's no difference in any way, except that this one is like 10 times faster on the download. 29, 31, 35. Are these settings the same? We've got to try like another site or something. So because that seems very suspicious, I'm going to try the standard Google speed test and just see what we get. All right, what do we got? Oh, there we go. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. We're seeing way faster speeds on 5GE. Which makes sense if you think about it. The XR has a 2x2 LTE antenna versus the 4x4 antenna on the V40. Okay, let's do one more time. Ready, set. There we go, yeah. It's consistently pulling ahead, this time actually by a lot more. So the iPhone still does have a little bit of an advantage on the upload, but I mean the download is a big difference. 5G is delivering almost double the speed. Now whether or not that's worthy of the 5G badge, I'm not so sure. I mean, realistically, the goal for 5G, proper 5G, is over 10 times the speed. So the fact that it's a little bit faster than LTE, it makes sense. So what did we learn? 5GE is just another name for LTE Advanced, and while it is faster, you shouldn't go drop everything to buy a 5GE enabled phone. True 5G is right around the corner.